Let's rewind back to Thursday night where Essendon snapped an 8-game losing streak against Port Adelaide in what was a huge relief for all the Essendon fans and the players. But it was really encouraging to see some new stars like Saad El-Houli there on the screen, but youngsters as well that really came to the fore late.
Yeah, I think his ability to really inject himself, sometimes playing as a sub, especially on debut, that is no easy feat, but he made an immediate impact, 8 disposals, and then Dersma was also phenomenal with 12 disposals, Redmond 8, Caldwell 7, and Kako, I mean, every time he gets the ball, you just feel like something's going to happen. There's players that are extremely hard to tackle on the field for different reasons. His is purely his agility and ability to just break away from a player that tries to get him, and it was just far better performance from them with and without the footy. We've been pretty harsh on them. I was pretty harsh on them last week. It was a very poor performance. They've been under the microscope from a lot of people during the week, and it was a bounce back. It was a much better performance. I think if Brad Scott had one thing on the board, it was pressure, and they built everything on the back of their improved pressure this game.
You've identified a few moments defensively for Essendon just in that last quarter. They've been criticised so much defensively, but some behind the goals vision here shows what they've been able to do.
Yeah, so pressure on the ball here. So you'll see the Port Adelaide player is kicking overhands to start with, which then means the ball just hangs in the air a little bit. And they've also finally got some shape behind the ball. So Ben McKay is playing as the +1 here and is just able to affect that kick long down the line. And then this one here, this is exactly the part of the ground you don't want to turn the ball over with. And Port Adelaide have got it here. But their ability to quickly just transition into defence and own the outside of the ground is something that we absolutely did not see last week against Adelaide. I almost guarantee that would have been an end-to-end transition goal because they scored a whole heap of them against them last week, the Adelaide Crows. So even just little changes like quick to react, they were far quicker to react when the ball turned over and far quicker to put pressure on the ball carrier, and ultimately it ended in the success of winning the game.
You spoke about Ben McKay being used as a +1 there towards the end of the game. He struggled a little bit earlier in the match when he was one-on-one with Mitch Georgiades, but Brad Scott was able to pivot, put Zach Reid on him, who really succeeded. Talk us through those two matchups through the game.
Yeah, I think it's no denying that Ben McKay, as sort of that key defender, isn't probably performing the way that they want him to at Essendon. Here it's a handover that doesn't really happen, so whether that's communication, whether that's reaction from players up the field, pretty poor, but Zach Reid was able to really put a very good game together and play on Mitch Georgiades, keep him goalless. Just his ability to just work one-on-one, and I think just his turn of foot is a lot quicker than Ben McKay, so we could keep up with him, he could react a lot quicker and then get a fist in, bring the ball to ground, get up, lay tackles and put a whole lot of pressure on Georgiades. So whilst it was McKay's probably, it was pretty poor in the first term, let's be honest, there's no sugarcoating it, but Zach Reid really put some good performances together in the quarters 2 to 4 to really clean up his act and help with getting Georgiades out of the game.
You mentioned McKay not playing his best footy in the first quarter, and unfortunately it was the Bombers fans at the ground who let him know about that the most. Bronx cheers for Ben McKay in what was really an ugly moment. And Corey McKernan, the former North Melbourne and Carlton superstar, coming out and discussing his own experience with that. He talks about being booed. It's easy to deal with, but Bronx cheers off your own fans is next level. Carlton fans Bronx cheering me against Essendon in 2002 after the game left me in tears. Keep in mind, Corey McKernan won the best and fairest for Carlton in 2002 and had a great year, but it just speaks to just how damaging that can be to a player's mental health, the confidence on field. Talk us through, if you're Ben McKay, what you're going through right in this very moment after that game, that performance, but the Bronx cheers from the fans.
Yeah, look, I don't think there's any denying if you ask Ben McKay if he's playing his best football, he'd be the first to say that he wasn't. And I think it's clear that his role at Essendon and what he's trying to do isn't quite working the way that they'd hoped. However, I think the Bombers fans should probably need to take a pretty good hard look at themselves after that game, because that's pretty disrespectful. It's very damaging behaviour to a player that is going out and putting his best foot forward for the club. He's doing everything he can to improve his performance. No player goes out there trying to not play a good game or let the team down in any sense. And in the first term, it got better as the game went on because Essendon were in the game, but it looked like at the start of the game, Georgiades was really going to take hold of it. He's going to make the game his own. They were able to change some things around the ball. The ball coming in isn't just a result of the one-on-one defence either. It's a lot to do with up the ground. They put a lot more pressure up the ground as well, which affected the kicks coming in. But I just think it's pretty disgusting behaviour from Essendon fans to turn on one of your own like that. You're expecting to cop it from opposition fans, but never your own fans. And I just think that was, pretty poor behaviour from them.